Get started with questions for Coach Allen. Please raise your hand. We'll take a mic to you. Let's start with Tyler in the back here, over here on the right.
Hey, Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I just want to follow up on something I asked James about with Max Granville joining the roster so late. What were your impressions of him as a prospect, looking longer term, maybe this summer and this spring, versus now what you have in front of you on campus and the viability of him taking a role as a freshman?
Yeah, I tell you, it was one of those things where when you begin the process, this wasn't what we were thinking would happen. We was thinking about being a mid-year enrollee once he concluded his senior season. And then, when that started to transpire, when it was brought up, it was like, okay. So you start going from thinking about a guy that's going to be here a year from now to a guy that could be here potentially in the fall, which is how it kind of started. And we were very excited about his athleticism. On film, it flashes. Then you start to get to know the person and the family, and you see the fit to our program, to guys going to come here and care about the things that we care about and just do the little things the right way where you feel like he's just coming and really, really develop because of everything that he has, in this program. And so now that we got him here, he hasn't been here very long, but you test him, and he tested out really, really well, kind of you expect him to, with his track background and his athleticism coming off the edge. And so I really have high expectations for Max, and I feel like that he's a guy that has really, really good twitch. Great first step quickness, does a lot of things naturally. Now we've seen him in practice only for a couple of days. We haven't had pads on yet. Those will go on today. But you can tell quite a bit about a guy's feel for the game. Even though he's a guy that will get bigger and stronger, he still has a good understanding fundamentally with his handwork and his footwork and placement of his hands, in the run game, going against tight ends. And so I think rushing the passer is kind of what he does best and what he does naturally. But obviously he'll become a complete player. But I tell you what, I'm super excited about him. Thrilled to have him here. When we realized he was going to be here, which was definitely a surprise, was really kind of a bonus for us, 2024.
In the front, Rich.
Hi, Tom. With James last week saying that Abdul's going to play both end and linebacker, how do you juggle his practice time? How has he looked in these two practices at end? And what factors will you weigh in determining where he will play?
Yeah, I think that's a week-to-week decision. I think as we've said, even the first couple practices has been focused on defensive end throughout the spring and the summer. He obviously knows how to play, linebacker in our system at a pretty high level. And so I think that it'll be a game plan decision that we feel like we can maximize, his skill set in those situations. And obviously just, as he moves forward with our roster, the depth in his position and where we feel that all stacks up. So obviously he's a difference maker type guy. So you want him to be able to have multiple skill sets that he can impact the game at different positions. And obviously when we get into our third downs, there'll be things he'll do already that will have things he's done in the past at the linebacker position as well. So I feel like that's nothing but an asset to us, and we'll continue to balance that all out and allow him to be able to be, totally prepared for game day, whatever that role might be.
In the front here, Seth.
Hey, Tom. James talked a little bit about how this season could potentially go, 17 games. With your kind of high-energy style of coaching, how do you think that fits into what could, end up being maybe a very long season?
Well, I just think that there's a consistency that you must have. You can't grow weary of doing the little things the right way every day, over and over and over again. And I think, I like to say it, embracing the boredom of consistency, whatever that might look like and whatever that's fundamental work, how you bring your energy every day. And to me, it doesn't really matter how many games we play. I'm going to bring that same energy and intensity every single week. But I do think in terms of how we practice and how we prepare our team, you have to understand the big picture of it all and understand where you're at as a coach and how you bring that. So I'm not necessarily expecting your guys to be on an emotional high every day of practice. In terms of that, you got to learn how to just be consistently good every single day. When your body feels a certain way and then when your body doesn't feel a certain way. And so it's more about your mindset and how you are thinking and not how you're feeling. And so to me, that's really the approach I take. And so we got to be consistent. And to me, no matter who we play, no matter what week of the season it is, there has to be a standard of expectation that this is how Penn State plays defense, period. No matter the game, no matter the week of the season, no matter the circumstances.
On the right, Daniel.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well. James said that there are 6 or 7 cornerbacks that he would feel comfortable playing right now. For you, how have you seen that room come along? And then personally, what's your personal philosophy on rotating players, using multiple cornerbacks at one spot throughout a game?
Yeah, so first of all, it was a position when I was, first hired that we were concerned about, just losing 3 guys from that position, to the NFL, which is an obvious, hole to fill. Knew we had some talented young players and just didn't know how they were going to develop. And so that became a major focus. Obviously brought in two transfers mid-year that were have turned out to be tremendous, assets to our program in so many different ways. And so that room has turned into a question mark into, possibly one of our strengths of our whole defense. And so I love having that depth there. You think about the way the game is played now and the way we want to be able to play guys that can cover and do multiple things, not just in man, but also in a lot of different zone principles that we want to be able to implement as well. So depth at that position is critical, and I'm a big believer in playing lots of guys. I've been that way my whole career. I want to have a good rotation so you're able to be at your very, very best at the end of the game, and then now also be at the end of a season, which could be a very long season. That's the expectation that it's going to be a long season. So, but I think the more guys you can play, the more depth you're going to create, and then it's whether third down package, second pass packages that we have, guys that can cover, guys that can tackle. That's one thing I think Coach Terry Smith's done a phenomenal job is building a room full of guys that have the traits you're looking for. The speed, the twitch, the ability to make plays in space defensively, the tackle, have a physical, mental toughness to them that group has. And so super excited about that group and plan to play a bunch of them.
In the middle, Max.
Hey, Tom, how you doing? Right here.
Hey, Max, how you doing?
I'm good. Through spring ball and now going into the fall, it's the first time you've been able to have the green dot on defense. How much does that change what you're able to do just on the field?
Yeah, it's different, and so I carry the radio around, and give the call to the Mike linebacker, and that's who right now is wearing the green dot. We could have different guys wearing it in different situations, but at the same time, it's an adjustment. But I think it's another step in the direction of allowing us to maximize technology. I think the bigger game day adjustment is probably going to be the iPads on the sideline, but I think the green dot, and how we utilize it, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be dependent upon the offensive style and tempo and what they choose to do with the green dot. Do they huddle? Do they not? Do they use to do different mechanisms to maximize things? And so definitely, so what we're in the process of doing right now is to be able to have multiple ways of getting our calls into the defense, but the green dot is a constant with our guys. And so even when you play and practice on different fields and different guys we're trying to get reps with, you're trying to go through and maximize that process. So it's kind of a fascinating thing for me. I've not called a defense with the helmet communication, being a college coach my whole career in high school. So it's new for me as well. I did a lot of conversations with NFL guys that I know, NFL players that I've coached in college and now wear it in the NFL, and how they, can maximize it. What do they want to hear? What they don't want to hear? How can I really help them the most? And so it's been a good learning process for me throughout the spring, over the summer, and now into 2 days into camp. So I think it's going to be an asset to us. I think it's going to allow us to really, be more efficient in what we're doing, and me to be able to help our linebackers give them a couple keys before the microphone shuts off.
In the front, Greg.
Coach, how you doing? When you look at your defensive tackle group, you have a lot of returning guys there. Where do you feel like as they get ready to put the pads on that group is, and who are you looking at as some of the better guys or the more productive guys out of that group?
Well, I tell you what, oftentimes you talk about the ends here, and rightly so, but I tell you, I've been impressed with the inside guys, and Zane Durant to me kind of jumps out. Devon at least jumps out to me, those two guys, and that hasn't really, when you practice without pads on, it's hard to kind of tell anything at this point, but we know what they can do. I've coached against them and understand the level, and I just, even watching Devon in the bowl game and the level that he played at, to me, that's what he needs to be doing every single week, and so Keziah, Izzard to me is another one that's tremendously talented, really big physical guy, and Keem Beam, another one that can really do a lot of different things, and I could go on. That's a deep group, it really is. And so I think the bottom line is that you can't have enough big physical guys that can have good lateral movement as well, and we're not a team that just sits there. We'll be very aggressive and attacking in our style, so they're a huge part of what we want to do, and it allows us to be able to do a great job. I just think that all the positions are going to play a huge role in this, but it always starts up front to me, and be able to stop the run and then pressure the quarterback, and I expect those guys to be a big part of that.
We got time for one more. Front right, Mark.
Tom, when we talked to Dex earlier this summer, he mentioned Zeki as a starter along with KJ and Jalen. I mean, do you view it that way? And can you talk about the versatility of those safeties and what you can do with them?
Yeah, I think those three young men are as good a three safeties as you're going to have in the country, and very versatile. Sometimes there's going to be different packages we'll be in where they'll, could all be in the game or just two of them in the game, but that rotation will be very important to us, and so having those three guys, and Zeki's probably made the biggest growth, from last year to this year. He's had a tremendous offseason, even if you think from spring ball and even watching these first couple clips of our first couple practices here of this, fall camp. I mean, it's just a lot of just pride. KJ and Jay Reed just have set the tone for that room, and they just make sure everything's right. They truly run the defense. I used to always put that on the back, which I still do, but now I got another group of guys that take that same mindset. So I think that in today's game, the way the offenses have evolved and the way they spread the field out, and the teams we've added from the West Coast, and with Wisconsin going to the air raid offense, just the way the Big Ten has changed here in the last few years is going to be very necessary for us to be able to match that. And so having multiple guys at the safety position is going to be, got to have guys that are athletic, that can play in space and make tackles in space. And so I think those three guys all fit the bill, and they all have good size to them. They all can run, and they all have a lot of, I would consider all three of them very high football IQ guys. So I'm excited about that room.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Appreciate
we'll have Andy next.
Awesome. Have a great day. We are.